So morning, everyone. Benson here, performance capability. I'm just on my way down to London today to do some work with one of my clients. Pretty excited about it. But I was thinking this morning about a principle that many of us get caught in the trap of. And I want to share with you a little bit of information on that and just give you some insights and some things to think about. You know, they say if you want something badly enough, you'll get it. But what if wanting it too much is exactly the thing that's holding you back? That promotion, that relationship, maybe that dream life we choose to obsess over, and ultimately we end up losing sleep over it. And somewhere along the way, we stop living. So in this video, what we're going to do is a deep dive into what happens when desire turns into desperation, and why sometimes letting go is the most important thing that you can do. Let's run the intro.
Hold your breath, all the moves we're making.
You know, you go after opportunities, but you never beg. You prepare relentlessly, but hold the outcome lightly. That's not apathy, that's real control. See, the power of wanting less, to want wisely is to live wisely. Desire is fuel, but fuel needs discipline. Left unchecked, it burns down the house. Guided, it warms it, it lights it, and it builds. So let me ask you something. What happens when your desires stop belonging to you? When they're planted in your mind by someone else's agenda? See, we live in a world where desire is no longer born quietly in our own hearts. It's manufactured, it's refined and delivered to us with precision. Social media, marketing and algorithms have turned our wants into products and our attention into the most valuable commodity in the marketplace. They don't just observe us, they track every click, every pause, every moment, every hesitation, mapping out the contours of restlessness. They serve to highlight reels of curated success, you know, filtered beauty and luxury snapshots paired with airbrush realities that chip away at our sense of contentment. The underlying message is relentless. You're not enough yet. Buy more, achieve more, become more, and maybe, just maybe, you might get there. See, if you scroll through your feed and it starts as idle curiosity, maybe a quick check, maybe a little entertainment, but before you know it, you're running an emotional marathon you never even signed up for. Someone's on vacation in Bali, sipping cocktails at sunset. Another just announced a major promotion. Someone else poses proudly in front of their dream house or dream home with keys in hand. And here you are, phone in hand, suddenly questioning whether your own life measures up, even if moments before you felt content. This sudden shift isn't random, it's by design. The psychology of envy and aspiration is well understood by advertisers. They don't just sell you a product, they sell you the gap between where you are and where you think you should be, turning that gap into the hook that keeps you scrolling and keeps you spending. See, the problem isn't simply wanting more. Ambition in itself can be healthy and necessary. The real danger is when wanting hardens into a chain, binding your self-worth to fulfillment. There's a tipping point you cross where desire shifts from being a motivating force to, you know, an oppressive one, a restless craving that distorts your judgment and drains your energy. What once inspired action begins to erode your peace of mind. That's where practice of measured desire becomes essential. Not the absence of wanting, but not reckless pursuit, but a deliberate, disciplined form of wanting that fuels progress without consuming you. So let me share with you a few ideas on this. Number one, the psychology of over-desire. When you want something badly that consumes you, your perspective collapses. Your mental world shrinks to a narrow tunnel vision where one possibility becomes the only possibility, blinding you to other viable paths. You start to ignore the nuances of timing, readiness, and alignment because you're chasing a fantasy built around urgency and emotional need. In this state, you might pass on opportunities that are just as promising or even better because they don't fit the script you're clinging to. This is how we miss the doors that are wide open, because our eyes are locked on the one we want to force open. We wait anxiously for one job offer, that one text that says yes, and in the process you filter the world through scarcity. You tune out the abundance of other chances quietly waiting for you to notice. Not because they aren't there, but because you're convinced yourself there's only one way. When your mind fixates like that, it flips the switch on your brain's built-in threat system. Adrenaline spikes, muscles tense, and your awareness narrows until you're on constant alert, scanning for rejection, misreading neutral moments as signs of trouble, overanalyzing every pause or silence instead of sharpening your performance. This state of hypervigilance drains you. Trust me, I know about it. You're not more effective. You're burning energy on imagined threats. Carl Jung called this possession by complex. That a moment when a single desire or fear hijacks your whole psyche, dictating your mood, decisions, and sense of self until it owns you instead of you owning it. So maybe we should talk about the Stoic perspective. Tranquility over craving. The Stoics had a radically different approach to desire, one that still cuts through the noise today. They didn't preach the impossible task of extinguishing all wanting. Instead, they taught the critical skill of maintaining control over your desires without becoming controlled by them. You know, they understood that desire is not inherently destructive. It's the relationship we have to it that determines whether it becomes a source of strength or a source of suffering. Their wisdom was practical and deeply empowering. Let desire be a tool in your hands, not a chain around your neck, is the kind of thinking. You know, use it to build, move, grow, but never let it dictate your peace or your principles. Because the moment your peace is tied to an outcome, you're no longer free. You're at the mercy of something outside of yourself. How many of us have been in that situation? I know I have. And they knew that kind of emotional dependency is a breeding ground for disappointment, frustration, and ultimate instability. So they encouraged us to stay anchored to what we can control, our thoughts, our choices, our conduct. You know, they taught that true freedom comes not from having everything your way, but from having the strength to remain steady when it doesn't. Epictetus captured this perfectly when he said, freedom is not achieved by satisfying desire, but by eliminating it. They taught holding goals lightly, working hard without making happiness dependent on any result. They focused on controlling what they could, which is their thoughts, their actions, and their values. And when you stop hanging your peace on things that you can't control, you stop breaking every time something doesn't go your way. That's measured desire, a steady flame, not a wildfire. It's the sailor adjusting to the wind, not trying to overpower the sea. The third one I want to talk about is the desire and the paradox of control. Have you ever noticed how the more you chase something, the faster it runs or the faster it gets away from you? That's not superstition, it's human nature. Push too hard and you create tension. Pressure and resistance isn't a good thing. You wait for the call, it doesn't come. You beg for approval, it slips away. You press so hard for a goal that you burn yourself out. But when you prepare instead of cling, when you let go of the grip, things start to move. It's not magic, it's psychology. People can tell the difference between confidence and desperation. And you know what? So can life. When you try too hard not to mess up, you often do. Focus not on missing the shot and you miss it. The pressure becomes the problem every single time. So really understand that. That's so important to get hold of and really internalize. The other one I want to talk about is an analogy. I want to give you an analogy of the bow and the string, you know, in terms of a bow and arrow. Desire is like drawing the bow. Too little tension, the arrow fails and falls too short. Too much and the string snaps. Balance is power. It's the wisdom to apply just the right amount of pressure, enough to drive the arrow forward with force and precision, but not so much that the string recoils violently or snaps under strain. Too little and you stay stagnant. Too much, you lose your rhythm. Your form and your control that started as effort quickly turns into injury. But when you strike that middle ground where tension is firm yet controlled, you don't just create momentum, you sustain it. This is where action becomes freedom. It's the space where you can move forward without falling apart. In this balance lies mastery. It's not just about effort, it's about efficiency, awareness, and restraint. Just like the archer learns to feel the right tension before the release. We have to feel when desire serves us and when it begins to own us. This is the essence of power that doesn't explode but endures. It's the power that doesn't scorch but it shapes. It's how purpose becomes precision and how intensity becomes sustainable. So the other thing I want to talk about related to this is measured desire in action. And what that means is measured desire means you're committed. You're not chained. You move forward with intention and discipline, but you're not hostage to outcomes. You set the goal, you work the plan, you show up with consistency, but your sense of peace isn't up for negotiation. You're not bargaining your mental health or validation or chasing deadlines like they define your worth. You wake up early for the grind, yes, but you can still sleep at night because you've built your drive on purpose, not pressure. You're not pacing your room at 2 a.m. worrying if it's all going to slip away. You've done your part and you trust in the process. In fact, you can read my other post, and if you go to bensonspeaks.com, there's a whole section on trusting the process and understanding what that entails. But you've done your part and you trust the process to do the rest. You set goals, but you don't tie your worth to them. You know, you go after opportunities, but you never beg. You prepare relentlessly, but hold the outcome lightly. That's not apathy, that's real control. See, the power of wanting less, to want wisely is to live wisely. Desire is fuel, but fuel needs discipline. Left unchecked, it burns down the house. Guided, it warms it, it lights it, and it builds. See, when you master this, you stop being dragged through life by a leash of unmet expectations. You no longer move from fear or scarcity. You move from choice, from power, from clarity. You act because your values guide you, not your insecurities. You pursue your goals, but you're not defined by them. You stop confusing your worth with your achievements, your net worth with your self-worth, your identity with your outcomes, and your peace with your performance. That's when you win twice. Once in the result and again in the strength of mind and stillness of heart that remain intact regardless of what happens. You become someone who can strive without suffering. That's the real message. That's what you really want to go after. So I hope you got some value out of this today. Just recognize that, you know, when we want something so badly, it gets away from us. And the moment we relax, the moment that we let it happen and we trust in the process, things start working out. Hope you got some value. Tune in next time. I'm really excited to share the next message. Performance capability. If you want to get in touch with bensonspeaks.com, performancecapability.com. And we're building a business at the moment. If you want to be part of that, certainly get in touch with me. I'm really excited to share this message with people. So I'll see you soon. Take care.